Hello, welcome to our House Rule Kickstarter podcast. I am Ebo. We also have with us today Jeff and Lee. The three of us combined to form one super powerful
Podcast entity.
podcast entity
I would have
slash
said one useful person.
called House Rule Gaming. Um, I guess in this podcast, we're going to be discussing a little bit about what our website's about and what's coming up for us in the future. With that, I guess let's start off with a little bit about our history and how we got to where we are. Jeff, if you want to take that.
Yeah. We a while back moved kind of across the country. We're all kind of from the Midwest area, and we wanted to keep the old gaming group together, and so we started messing around with some online tools, and we eventually came up with House Rule, and up, up we've wanted a place where we could create and manage our role-playing campaigns, and so our friends could come here and check them out, and we could still keep playing with our friends back home, and that's so far worked out pretty well. We've got our same gaming group from back in the high school days that we're still playing with.
Yeah, we we split that up for a little bit, and then we came right back to it after a while. It worked out really well.
Yeah, we actually even regained a player who we hadn't played with for years since high school, and that's been awesome.
Yeah.
Also gained some extra players
Yeah.
that we probably never would have like had as close a relationship with as we have now, were it not for our ability to play games online.
That is true. So, that being said, we've created this company, House Rule Gaming LLC, and we have our own website where we've been writing articles and creating podcasts for about over 5 years now. Would say I think it's way over 5 years for at least the articles and the podcasts,
Yeah.
and we've been doing a lot of different things with it throughout the years. But over the past, I'd say about a little over 5 6 years ago, we started creating and building it into more of a um, campaign website that's not just articles and podcasts. So that being said, what are our goals with that, and what is that about?
Well, to me, I think we really want to bring people together. There's a lot of people out there who want to get into tabletop gaming. They want to get into role playing. They want to see what it's about. There's a lot of interest there, and there's a lot of people not playing because they don't have groups or they don't know how to play. It's intimidating to get into. So I think our big goal is to be inclusive and support the hobby. And the idea is that if we're creating a place that we want to play and the way we want to play, then that's a good basis to start creating a place that everyone's going to want to play.
Yeah, I personally, we've come up with a few concepts to get a lot more people involved in it too, including some community-based events, which we'll hit on in a little bit. Um, in addition to, just incorporating a lot of different things like Twitch and Discord servers into the mix so that people can interact on um, a more real level, um, not just online, but offline too, for offline games.
Yeah, we have what I would call a fairly robust LFG tool, and just the ability to put yourself out there or look for people who need more players, that sort of thing. Like finding a group is one of the hardest steps to starting role playing, and it's a little intimidating to walk into you know to walk into a gaming store and just be like, hey, I mean, I've been role playing for a long time, and I'm still a little intimidated by that.
So there are a lot of companies that do something similar with this currently, which is, you have Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds and Tabletop Simulator, and plus on the other spectrum, Obsidian Portal, and a lot of other different apps like that. So what particularly makes us different than them, would you say?
Yeah, there's a lot of tools out there, and there's a lot of really good tools out there. And I think uh, I think what makes us different is we're trying to create this overall experience. I think when a lot of people see House Rule, they're like, oh, it's another virtual tabletop. But we're trying to support role playing in a much more overall manner. And if you take like our tools like being able to create a wiki for your campaign very easily in a blog, and then when you jump into the tabletop, that's all at your fingertips. That's sort of the vision. That's the goal, and it's also those campaign tools are something that's useful to like face-to-face players. So it's not an online play only type of thing. We really want to support people who are running any kind of campaign for role-playing games.
Yeah, and for the virtual tabletops, I guess that's a lot of them are online. And you said that we've also got the a bunch of face-to-face stuff going too.
Yeah, I mean, we still love playing face to face. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
hot damn. I mean, if we were not so spread out now, I would probably be setting up games to run with them all the time. But LS we are. But I mean, even now, like there are games that I would and have begun to prepare on here that I might run. I might be running elsewhere at the table that's a little ways behind me with people who don't even use the tabletop.
Well, and you also mentioned about like a friendly local gaming store type of situations. Like a lot of those places are awesome, and they support coming in the weekend and playing. And sort of part of the vision is you might be able to speak with your gaming group online and kibitz about what you're going to do in the next session. And then when you meet up at your house or your gaming store and play, you're just ready to go.
Yeah, you've been using it to write really helpful like recap blog posts that sort of take that out of the first half hour of the game and put it into whenever people feel like reading it.
yeah. One of the things I've actually really enjoyed um, when we've been working on it is the thought of having everyone else's character sheet at my disposal, even if I'm not with them. I mean, when we used to play before, it was if I wanted to look
Oh,
at someone else's character
the
sheet,
folder.
we would have one person would have the folder, and then sometimes that person would not bring the folder, and then it was another half an hour or 45 minutes before we got the folder and returned it
And
to
then there
its
was
proper place at the gaming table.
the one player who wouldn't put their character sheet in the folder, and they took theirs home, and so who knows where that ended up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
I'll admit to being that player at least some of the time. It only took forgetting it like 4 or 5, maybe 20 times for me to remember to put it in the folder.
and that I think that's also really helpful with you know, global campaign items like game materials such as maps, things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I like
Um,
being able to post maps for people to go look and see kind of what they want to do, and then we can use those same maps in game and draw on them and move tokens around on them and stuff like that.
Yeah, it sort of takes the world map out of necessarily just the GM's fingertips and gives it to everybody to peruse at their leisure.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
yeah. Um, so on Kickstarter wise, what makes us different than other Kickstarters that have been popping up in, I mean, just Kickstarters in general, I would say.
Compared to a lot of Kickstarters, we actually have a largely usable product. Um, we aren't looking for like to back an idea or a concept. Like the concept is already here. This thing works and has worked for our group up to 10 people in a single game even. But we need more robust testing measures and we need hardware to do what we need to do, not software. A lot of the software development's already done and people can use it. It's just that we lack between the three of us, we lack the funding for hardware robust enough to support a full-size beta.
Yeah, we're not asking you to trust us to go hire a bunch of contractors to maybe finish something, maybe not. Really, if anything, we're asking you to help us get to the next step to refine a product that already exists and to upgrade our hardware to actually support a large number of users.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, we've been, I think, running games on House Roll for how many years?
4 or
three,
5 years.
4 or 5 years,
Ever
maybe.
since Amber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since Amber, and that was about 4 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's been a while. Amber was perfect because when we didn't have dice mechanics, Amber didn't have dice.
that is true. Amber's a good game. So we talked a little bit, and I wanted to hit on this again. We talked a little bit about community-based events. This is a personal thing that I really enjoy, and I'm really excited to get to sooner rather than later, hopefully. So when we're talking about community-based events, what does that actually mean in real terms, I would say, as opposed to some vague idea that I've been throwing around?
Yeah, we were talking about this, and I kind of wanted something to compare it to, and I was thinking kind of like maybe like an adventure night or a Friday night magic or something along those lines. But basically, we want to put together these events that involve lots of players that are very new player friendly. And so maybe during a week we could like there could be like a free module or something that we could all get together and play, and then share our experiences about that. Maybe there's a night a bunch of people are playing the same module, and then we can chat and blog about it and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm. It also opens up a lot of interesting avenues for testing stuff. For if content creators want to test a module and they don't want to, they don't have the time or there isn't a con running, right that moment. They can test it outside the office with people who've never played the game by bringing it here, uh, throwing it at a bunch of people and seeing what happens.
That's one of the cool things about the tabletop industry is that the dev community and the player community, it's all the same community. And
Hmm.
they'll want to work together, and I think it's a great thing to promote both big companies working together to get their stuff out there and have people be able to play that stuff, but also like independent publishers or people just sort of up and coming. Give them a chance to say, hey, maybe this week we're doing a house rule social event, and a new publisher wants to throw their module out there and see what people think.
Oh yeah, I always love those one-shot dungeon, the one-shot dungeon contest that always comes up,
Hmm.
and my big goal is to have like a one-shot dungeon that we can set up and do throughout the week, and not just that, but have like rewards associated, like participation
Hmm.
rewards, not where you have to complete it, but um, if you actually play this game within this week, you get some sort of um,
A badge or emote or something like that.
something associated with it.
Hmm. I mean, that's not to say that we also I'd like to run things that are a lot of like new player friendly. Like I'd like to be able to help people learn how to use the tabletop, both GMs and players. Um, we could, like helping people find groups. Um, be like, well, hey, we'd love to run a thing for your group or help your group, and see if you guys mesh together. Think of it like speed dating, except for role playing groups. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's I guess find a friend nights would
Yeah.
be something that we're looking forward to do, because I've been seeing a lot of talk, recently, where a lot of people have a difficult time finding groups because they want to do some sort of like 3 to 4 hour session, and people just not show up, which is part of life um, in that scenario. But I think if we cut it down and we have these 1 to 2 hour sessions that people can pop in and see how they mesh with another group for like a little bit of a one shot that can actually help bolster what we're um, I guess bolster friendships and or gaming groups that people have been looking for some time.
Yeah, like a mini module.
Yeah. One of the other things I was really excited about was having some sort of family night. I know there's a lot of good games out there, like No Thank You Evil. I just picked up Ryutama under Lee's. I don't know his. I don't know. He told me it was supposed to be good, so I just figured,
It
all
looks
right,
really
let's give it.
pretty and
Yeah,
interesting. I
really
love the
pretty.
concept.
And it is. There's also Hero Kids and stuff like that, but I think Family Night really, if we give um, allow kids and not only kids but adults to participate together, I think that'd be really beneficial to the community, so that one can see what the other actually is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, it lets you share your, your hobby with
Yeah.
your children. They're not just on the sidelines watching.
yeah,
It's nice to
exactly.
get kids involved. I know Rory has been role playing since he was like 0.
Yep.
So uh, so we've got community-based events, which we intend to do, I would say somewhere like right after we go live is the my goal with it
During the
anyway.
beta and for question marks.
Yeah. And besides that, what else do we have coming down the pipeline?
Well, coming into the future, we kind of teased this a little, but there's a whole site redesign. One of the things that's very important to us is that while complicated features are great, the things that you want to do right now, we want to be at your fingertips and easy to use and easy to do. And the more inviting something looks and the more responsive it is when you use it, that's all very important, and very important to us. And so there's a complete site redesign that's coming down, and we can post a link to that picture in the show notes. But it all looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it is snazzy. Both the site redesign and the tabletop ideas that she's bandied about are both pretty great looking. She's just a really a great designer. Like she designed what we're using now a few years ago.
Yeah,
And
well, Lisa, um,
Lisa
who's
did
our
it right.
Yeah.
who's
I forgot to mention.
designed actually our entire site, the virtual tabletop, our beautiful front page, our logo,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you've already seen we've already had a couple iterations. If you go way back into the internet, years past, you saw what I did with the website, and it was a black and white color scheme, which was frankly not very pretty.
The good old
And
days.
so we've got past that into actual quality design
We've
work.
moved on into the future.
Yeah. Um,
I mean, yeah, I mean, like for my money, there's always new resolution mechanics come out for games constantly. I am surprised by the ways that people find to resolve disputes, friendly disputes during their role playing games. For example, fudge dice completely blew me away when I first used them. They're crazy awesome. And we're always sort of looking out for new dice mechanics to support.
Yeah, just the
Um,
other day we played Symbarum, and it was like, oh yeah, difficulty roll under might be a good mechanic, and
you
there's all kinds of stuff out there.
yeah, Brand was actually talking about the Song of Ice and Fire role playing game, which I really liked the dice mechanics in that, and I thought, oh, we need to implement this.
yeah,
So that will at least be
and
coming
new
up
new
fairly
dice
soon.
mechanics are always interesting to play around with also. So it's like every time we put a new dice mechanic in, first thing I want to do is, well, how does that actually
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the big ones that another thing that I've been trying to strive for and I thought of because I used to love doing this in person, but you can't do it so much if you're online, is having private chats with players as opposed to just messaging, which we do have already, where you can privately message your own groups and just players one-on-one. But
Or yourself
adding
if
a
you're a
video
forgetful idiot.
component to that.
I really like the private text chat when I'm running
Yeah.
because I can use that really easily when something else is going on that I'm not a part of. But if I need to really quickly, pull someone aside and say, "Hey, it's this, this, and this," that's a lot faster than I can type. And I think it'd be cool to be able to just like look at the tabletop like we have and just pull someone into a private one-on-one and be like, "Hey, check it out, it's this and this and this," and the other players kind of see that there's something private going on there, and so it kind of increases the little intrigue and mystery and stuff. And then
For you Amber players.
when you get back to the table, they'll get harassed about what was said, and then it'll all be fun. So.
Yeah, it also helps, I think, a lot in those epic campaigns where you have some sort of scene that you want only a few people to be a part of, and then you can bring it back where these other people are really excited and really stoked about it, and they want to tell everyone else, but they can't.
Mhm.
I think anything else that you wanted to bring up for update-wise?
One of the big things, and this is some of these are like sort of small fixes, but one of the uh, big heavy hitters that I really want to sink my teeth into at some point is a system for creating and running and sharing adventures. And ideally, what I'd like is for people to be able to, log into the tabletop. And right now, you can make adventures. I mean, you can make like all the components of them, like the sheets and the maps and music
Documents to share and etc.
and documents, writings, all that stuff. But I'd like to have a system where a person creating an adventure can put all that together cohesively in a thing where they can kind of play and it'll kind of go through things step by step and hold their hand, and then maybe they can share that with others, and um, so other people can run those adventures and stuff like that.
Yeah, the ability to share like an entire collection of stuff. So like here's what you need for your adventure. Like you're ready to go. Make your campaign. Let's do it.
And I think like with all our tools, one of our big things is we try to make it accessible to everyone. And this would be like how our wiki is entirely graphical. When you use it, I would envision these tools as being something that anyone can use. You wouldn't have to be a computer programmer or anything like that.
So we don't really have a set idea of when these are going to be implemented. But you're talking about how we're trying to incorporate what other users we're looking at. And I think one of the big things that I wanted to really talk about was that we are not just going to ignore what the users actually care for. I mean, there's three of us, and we have we can talk to our friends and all the other people that we know and see what those people want. But we're also looking for more feedback on what we just completely missed.
Yeah, if you delve into the world of the internet when you're talking about role playing, one of the very first things that you're going to learn is that your group does not play like every other group because every group is unique. And so like the way we play, we have the tools that support the kinds of things that we want to do. But as we get into a beta, we really need to get a bunch of feedback from other players who are saying, "Hey, I kind of like to play like this. Can you help me out?" And our answer is going to be, "Yes, we want to help you out." And how can we do that?
Hmm. And yes, we will absolutely ignore your friend who says that he wants to murder all of the other players because I'll be honest, PKing is not cool unless you're playing Amber, in which case it's encouraged.
Sometimes necessary, though.
Yeah.
I think that that about wraps it up for us. We just wanted to keep this nice and short so that you guys have a good idea of what we're talking about when we say some of these things, and instead of us, trying to fly past all of it. But yeah, we have a Kickstarter right now that's running, and it goes until the 16th of September. If I knew what day it was, I would tell you how many days we have left. I believe it's about 11 or
The
10.
fourth.
Yeah.
Okay, so 12. Okay. And we can obviously be found if you do want to talk to us, or if you want to interview us or do a podcast with us or ask us just questions or give us feedback or tell us um, what do you think we're missing, um, or what you really like. That helps too. We can be found in various places, including Twitter, which is @HouseRule, Facebook /HouseRule, Instagram @HouseRuleGaming. Our email is houserulegaming@gmail.com. Very simple to remember,
We're very creative.
uh, and very creative. Uh, and I think that about wraps it up for us. So again, thank you for watching if you're on the stream, or listening if you're listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
Our Kickstarter can be found at houserule.com/Kickstarter. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for watching, listening.